Hello, today we're going to be practicing additive volume using the problems found in our moving day packet. First, let's begin by reviewing how to find the volume of a rectangular prism. Remember that volume is the number of cubic dimensions or units needed to fill a solid figure. The formula for finding volume equals length times width times height. So let's practice finding volume of this rectangular prism. What are the dimensions that we're measuring in? We are measuring in inches. Our length is 10 inches. Our width is 3 inches. And our height is 4 inches. So let's write out our formula using these dimensions. Our volume equals 10 inches times 3 inches times 4 inches. So we can begin by multiplying 10 times 3, which will get us 30 inches, and then multiply 30 times 4, which will get us, let's look at our non-zero digits. 3 times 4 is 12, and then we can add that 0 back on. So we're going to get a total volume of 120 cubic inches. So we could write this as inches cubed, or we could write this as cubic inches. We need to always make sure to include our label. Now that we practiced with a rectangular prism, let's practice our additive volume problems in our moving day packet. So take out our moving day packet and turn to the page labeled Loading the Truck. It says, the house is completely packed and now it's time to load the boxes and furniture onto the truck. Find the volume of the objects below to determine how much space each item will take up on the truck. When we find additive volume, we need to separate the composite figure into smaller prisms. So what we're going to do is separate the two prisms into A and B. We're going to find the volume of each one and then add the smaller prisms together. So for number 1, we're going to separate the figure into prism A and B. I'm going to show you how to separate them with 2 different colors, and I'll label each. So I'm going to separate prism A and outline it in blue. Now I'm going to separate prism B and outline it in red. So here I have prism A outlined in blue and prism B outlined in red. So let's first write the volume of prism A, and I'm going to use this as my workspace paper. Remember that volume equals length times width times height. So let's see if we could find our dimensions. My width is 4 inches. I'm going to actually use blue for this because this is my prism A. My height, I can see, is 1 inch. Do we know my length? It's not labeled, but I can figure this out. 8 inches is the entire length. That's A and B. I can see up here that 6 inches is the length of prism B, but I only want part A. So what I'm going to do is take 8 minus 6, and that's going to give me a length of 2 inches. Now I have my dimensions written for prism A in blue, and let's go ahead and write my dimensions for prism B in red. So let's see, do I have my length? I have it up here in 6, so I could put my length equals 6 inches. My width, do I have that labeled? I don't, but I know that it's exactly the same as my width for prism A. So I'm going to put my width equals 4 inches. My height, I can see, is 3 inches. Okay, now I have my dimensions for prism A and prism B. Let's go back to prism A using our volume formula, length times width times height. And let's multiply the numbers together. So 4 inches times 1 inch times 2 inches. This is going to give me a total volume of 8 inches cubed. Let's go to prism B and find the volume. I have 6 times 4 times 3. So I know 6 times 4 is 24. 24 times 3 is 72 cubic inches. Now I have my volume of prism A and prism B. I want to find my total volume, which I'm going to put here for my answer. So what I need to do for additive volume is add both prisms together. So 72 inches cubed plus 8 inches cubed. I'm going to have a total volume, 72 plus 8 is 80 inches cubed. So I can go ahead and put that for number 1. All right. So now we can move on to number 2. Let's go ahead and separate into our prisms with blue and red. So prism A and B. I'm going to outline prism A in blue. And I'm going to outline prism B in red. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my workspace and label my dimensions. Length, width, and height I need to look for. So I want you to see if you could find the dimensions of prism A and prism B. So if you look at prism A, you should have found our length is 1 foot. Our width is also 1 foot. And our height is 5 feet. When we began this problem, hopefully you recognized that we were measuring in feet this time and not inches as in number 1. So let's see if we could find our dimensions of prism B now. So our length, I see 4 feet, but I also see that that's the length of both A and B. So you should have recognized that the length is 3 feet. How did I find that? I took 4 feet minus 1 foot to get a length of 3 feet. My width is not identified. However, I could see that it's exactly the same as my width in prism A, which is 1 foot. So I'm going to go ahead and label 1 foot there. Okay, my height is labeled as 2 feet. So now I have my dimensions labeled for A and B. So let's go back to A and find the volume. Remember, volume equals length times width times height. So I could do 1 foot times 1 foot times 5 feet. And I'm going to get a volume for prism A of 5 cubic feet. For prism B, length times width times height. So I could do volume equals 3 times 1 times 2. And I'm going to get a volume of 6 cubic feet. Okay, now I have my volume of prism A and prism B. Remember, for additive volume, I need to add both prisms together. So I'm going to take 5 cubic feet plus 6 cubic feet, and I'm going to get a total volume of 11 cubic feet. And I can go ahead and put that on my final answer as 11 cubic feet. I hope this practice helps you when you are finding additive volume.